Okay. So he moved, well, you moved away.
Yeah,
He formed his own band, The
yeah,
Revolution.
that's right.
And The Revolution already had a drummer. But at one point you came back and you hooked up with him again.
Yeah.
But like I said, The Revolution already had a drummer.
And I was coming back to town to get that job too. That was my slot. So, I'm thinking, I can play better than Bobby Z. So this should be a no-brainer. So, Prince was blunt. He's always, he never, he always gave it to you straight. He's like, no, I already have a drummer. Like, okay. He said, but, you can come hang out and videotape the shows, which was a little bit of a slap in the face. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Right. You became his cameraman,
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
Okay. And he went on tour with Rick James.
Yeah.
He opened up for Rick James, actually. And Rick James was on fire at this point.
Yeah.
This was when Super Freak was out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right around there.
Oh, yeah. So, was that the first tour you went on?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it was I think it might have been after that because it was actually the Dirty Mind tour. And I don't think he was opening for Rick at that time. But I could be wrong. It's a long time ago.
All right. But at one point, he did go on tour with Rick James.
Yeah.
And I remember reading Rick's biography, and Rick just hated Prince.
I think he hated him. I think it was a pressure thing. I think it was more threatened by than hate. If I had to, because Prince coming on strong, man. He's gaining momentum. Probably kicking Rick's ass some nights. And so I think it was probably more threatened, by Prince than anything.
Okay, and what exactly was happening on the tour between Prince and Rick James?
Man, I don't really know what was going on, with them, because my thing was the cameras. I wasn't doing much hanging out back then. I was just camera, room, and so I hadn't turned into MD yet.
Okay. And Prince, even back then, was wearing the metrosexual type stuff. He was wearing like the bikini underwear and the trench coat.
Yeah.
And how were the crowds dealing with him back then, opening up for Rick James?
He was holding his own. And like I said, because once they saw his musicianship and his ability to entertain, and he got that hall pass. The women they don't really care about that kind of thing anyway, but guys especially, gave him that hall pass because he's such a talented dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then at the end of that tour, he really didn't need Rick James anymore. He
That
was
was it.
on fire on
Yeah,
his own.
exactly.
Well, and then he started opening up for the Rolling Stones. Were you on that tour?
I was at one show, and it was like a Woodstock, Coachella kind of thing out in the middle of nowhere, and I could kind of see it coming on, man, because we get out here and you see all of these dudes, man, hardcore biker looking dudes, beards and motorcycles and tattoos, and and then here comes Prince. I'm out at the soundboard, and I'm seeing all this develop, man, and here he comes out, trench coat back, legs out and stuff, man, and these dudes, they wasn't having it, man. Next thing I know, I start seeing beer bottles flying up on stage, and I was like, oh shit, it's time to go. So I had to beeline, get backstage and catch him coming off. We were straight into the car to the airport and back to Minneapolis right away.
Well, right. I interviewed Stokely Williams
Yeah.
of Mint Condition, who worked with Prince
Yeah.
later on, and he told me about a conversation him and Prince had about that, and he said that show was so bad. I mean, because guys were literally throwing beer bottles at him, and really was like, calling him gay and everything else like that.
The whole tone just.
Oh yeah, that he actually wanted to quit at that point completely, and Mick Jagger had to talk him like off the ledge.
Talked about when he's like, Stokely, when I first went on my first tour, like that Rolling Stones thing, not first tour, but, or maybe it was. And he was telling me, I got booed. I was just like, man, I didn't want to come back. And he said Mick Jagger's the one that actually called him back because he quit. You know, he didn't want to go back when he got booed. It's like, I said, what'd you do? He said, I just walked off stage. What could I do? And he said, Mick is the one that actually called him back. You can't quit, man. Come back. And, you know, so I guess they finished the tour.
You see, that could be. See, I didn't catch that because the part that I caught was once I made it back, he was on his way out, car, airport. I know he was humiliated, and you know, but he wasn't talking like quitting. I think that's a bit extreme for Prince. You know, that was part of his being. You know.
I mean, how did he feel about that whole experience? 'Cause that sounds pretty brutal.
No, it was crazy. He was humiliated, but you know what? I think it motivated him. You know, so because you know we got right back. He was right back in the studio. You know, didn't miss a beat, and you know I just think that somehow fueled his tank. You know, in a positive way.